Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, So Stylish with Elsa B. Now today is another Tuesday tips. Now I've been sharing a lot of tips with you, but I thought let's just change it a little bit, and I'm going to rather show you a couple of things that I like to do when I'm sewing. So this is not really going to be tips on sewing with knits or what to do with your stitches or anything like that. I just wanted to share my ideas that I like to put over into my clothing. Now when I sew, I'm someone that I can get bored very quickly. I can tell you that. So if I make a t-shirt, and I've got such a lot of knit fabrics, and every time I've got to make a t-shirt, you know what, it becomes boring because the necklines are the same. It's either a facing or a normal neckband, anything like that. And I like to play a little bit with my patterns and just do a couple of changes to make it look good. So today's video, and it's also going to be next week and maybe the week after, I'm going to be rather sharing my sewing tips that I like to do when I'm making my clothes, because I am literally busy sewing for myself. I need new clothing in my cupboard. So I thought let's just show you what I'm doing on my side. Now, if you've got a perfect, or not, I don't really want to say perfect, but if you've got a good t-shirt pattern, you're going to take it out, because we are going to be working with that basic t-shirt pattern and changing a little bit. Today specifically, I'm going to show you what I did with my neckband. As I said, the normal facings and the normal neckbands just becomes boring after a while. So I decided again, and I've done it before, I'm going to add a little bit of a twist again to my neckband. Now, if you look at how it looks, it almost looks like I took the neckband and I twisted it. But you can't really go twist it to sew it onto the neckline, because you are going to have a seam somewhere popping up every now and then. So I played a little bit with my neckband until I figured out how can I get this look. Now also look at the photo that I'm sharing you. Look at the finish that it does give us. It's just something different. It just takes that basic t-shirt pattern and just changes it into something that looks like you've bought it in a fancy boutique. Now what you are going to do, you are going to need to cut a neckband for yourself. And remember, your t-shirt pattern will maybe have the neckband in it, but it will be shorter than your neckline. I need you to go measure your neckline, because I need you to cut the band to fit exactly in the neckline. The way that I'm doing it, I'm already pulling a little bit on the neckband. So there's already a bit of a pull on that neckband. And if you have your neckband smaller than your neckline, it is really going to pucker and pull in this neckline for you. So it's got to be the exact same measurement as your neckline. So please go and make sure that you measure all the way around, and then I want you to cut it about 7 centimeters. I only worked with a 6mm or a 1/4 inch seam allowance on either side, and you don't want it to go too wide, because then you're losing that twist, but we can't have it too narrow either. So with playing around, I found that cutting it 7 centimeters works perfectly for the effect that I wanted. Again, remember, you are sewing for yourself. Go play with it. Take what I'm showing you and maybe make it wider. See if you are getting an effect that you do like. But when I did work slightly a little bit wider, I just didn't like the effect. I love this more of a tighter look around the neck. So that is what you're going to do. You're going to cut it out for me. And then you're going to take your marking pen or your chalk, and you're going to need a little ruler, and I'm going to show you how I actually made marks and what I did to create the twist on my top. So what I've done, I already went and I overlocked the seam of my neckband so that I've got basically a circle. So we've got our circle. And now what you're going to do, you are going to draw lines for me. I find spacing it at about 3 centimeters is more than enough. If it's a firmer fabric, maybe with not a lot of stretch, I'm going to say go maybe to 2.5 centimeters, but anything smaller than that, we are not going to get the look that we want. So I'm working, because it's very stretchy, I'm working with a 3 centimeter spacing. And all you go and do is literally, I've done some with my friction pen as well, but it doesn't show up on the fabric. So I'm just going with chalk again. So you are going to go and 3 centimeters apart, you start adding your lines that you're going to work with. You have to do it all the way around for me. So again, it's going to depend on your sizing. So maybe just go measure your neckband and then also divide it by 3. See if you get even spaces. Otherwise, play a little bit with that measurement that I'm giving you. If I'm out a little bit because it's on the center back, which is on the back, which you're not going to see, I actually do start measuring from there. And I do find that if I am slightly smaller or bigger on this area, it's for me not such a big issue because it's right at the center of my back. You're not really going to notice, and it's not affecting the twist at all. So make sure that you then start working evenly from there. What I do with my 3 centimeters, you can see there's my seam line. I'm just going to draw this so you can see. I know it's very difficult to get this on camera, but then I go from that line 1.5, because remember on this side I'm going to have 1.5, which gives me my 3 centimeters. So I start in 1.5, then I start putting 3 centimeters all the way around. So I'm quickly going to finish doing all my measurements and draw it in. I want you to go do this as well, and then I'm going to take you to the next step so that you can see what I'm going to do. I'm also working on the wrong side of my fabric, so mark it on the wrong side of your fabric. I actually went and I did mine just in a permanent marker, because this is just a scrap piece of fabric that I'm working with. So please don't go do permanent marker. It's just, it doesn't show up. The chalk really doesn't show up so well on the camera. So now what we're going to do, so you can see I've got my 3 centimeter spacing all the way around. Now you're going to take the one corner, and this corner I'm bringing, or that edge, I'm bringing over to the next line's edge. So this one again, I'm going to bring there. This one will go over to that edge, and that starts creating a twist in my band, which is what you're seeing on my top. So all I'm going to do, I'm taking this corner and I'm bringing it over to there. I keep saying corner, that edge, and I take it there and I'm going to pin it. And just pin it because you want to pin it this way so that your edges stays even. So now I'm looking and I'm going to take the next one, which is that line, and I'm bringing it over to the next line's edge on there. So I don't know how to say, if I've got to say top or bottom, but I'm just going to say edge. So now again we're looking at that marker. I'm going to the neckline, the next line, and I'm pulling it over to that area. And by doing this, I am now really giving it that effect that I want. And this one again, I'm just going to do a couple just so you can see what it looks like. And again, so I can see that line and that line. And I'm going to go and pin it. Let's do 2 more, then I'm going to show you what the neckband's starting to look like, and you can start seeing the effect. And again, that one over to the next line on that edge and pin it. So this is actually fun once you start playing with it. And I did try 2 centimeter spacing on this specific fabric. It really didn't give me the effect that I wanted. The 3 centimeter was perfect, but again, I'm working with a very stretchy fabric, so if you've got less stretch, you're not going to be able to really get it twisting like this on 3 centimeters. Then you've got to actually reduce the spacing a little bit to prevent it to really pull funny. But look at what is starting to happen if I put it down there. Can you see how that edge is lying nice and flat, but my fabric is starting to twist, giving me almost that rope effect that I want to get. Now, I'm not going to carry on pinning it like this because you're just going to go all the way. You're going to do the whole neckband that you are doing this way. Please don't go press it. We don't really want this to be pressed flat. After you've pinned it, you are going to go and again, just to be able to remove the pins to make sure everything is lying nice and flat, I went and I did a hand stitch just to keep my band together, and then only did I go pin it onto my neckline, and I actually sewed it by hand. Also again, just a long basting stitch by hand onto the neckline to see that everything was lying nice and smooth. Now also look at the photo that I'm showing you. That was after we did the hand sewing, and we just put it onto the mannequin so that you can actually see the effect of the twist that we have. And I really love this effect where it's just taking my top and making it look a little bit different than the normal ordinary t-shirt. Could you see how easy it is to actually get that twist? It's just something so simple that we can do to change our neckline. Now, one thing that I do want to mention, that you have to be cautious when you are doing this because of the twist on it. So you have to take out your hand needle and thread, and you are going to first catch your neckband onto your neckline, and make sure that if there's any folds going almost into the seam allowance, you're just smoothing it out and just catch it by hand to make sure that you're not going to I want to say almost catch part of that fold into the seam allowance. The seam allowance must stay flat. So if you look at mine here, can you see it's all flat? So please don't skip this part. You're going to sew it by hand, and sew it in a little bit deeper as what you are going to be sewing your seam allowance. Mine is 6 millimeters, and I literally just went past it and I caught it by hand, and I made sure everything was smooth, and then only did I go to my overlocker. I didn't go to the sewing machine. This whole t-shirt I actually just did on my overlocker, even the neckband, because it was sewn in by hand. There was no pins. I knew nothing can go wrong. It was just a quick sew to actually sew the band to the neckline. So please, this is so important. I know if you're not going to do the hand sewing, you are going to have a little bit of a problem when you are going to catch that neckband. So this is basically all you have to do to take a basic t-shirt and just turn it into something else. Now, also, again, I am playing a little bit with color blocking for myself. I love the color block ideas, and look at the photo that I found on Pinterest. This is, for me, it's such an eye-catching top. So I thought, I am definitely this weekend coming, I am playing with this top, and I'm actually going to create this top for myself. So if you feel that you would love to do this top with me as well, go look in your stash, go look at what colors you have that you can start adding together. And then next week, I'm actually going to take you through the steps of how I sewed that top, and how I planned the color blocking and cutting out the fabric, all of that. So again, a plain basic t-shirt that we can take and just go change it into something else. I think what I did want to mention as well, when I looked at this photo, and I'm just putting it there again, I work with my Schurfer designs as well. So in the Schurfer designs, in the instruction book for the dress kit, there is the beautiful swing top. It's the asymmetric swing top. And I'm actually going to create my pattern using that instructions there, because I do want it to go slightly out, and I do want a little bit of an asymmetric look to the top. So I'm actually going to take that pattern and design it for myself, and then only do I do color blocking. If you don't work with Schurfer designs yet, go look at your patterns that you have. I do suggest we don't want a tight fit. We do want nice and fitted, and then flaring out slightly for the effect of this top as well. So go look what you have, go through your stash, get everything ready, because next week we're going to be having fun when I show you how I made that top and how I color blocked it. And I've got a couple of ideas of how I'm going to sew it, so I'm not saying anything more. I will show that to you guys next week. Now, if you've been following me, please make sure that you go and subscribe for the channel so that you do get notifications every time I add a video for you, because I am really, as I said, I'm planning so much, and I've got so many ideas that I want to share with you in upcoming videos. So you do want to know when I'm posting all those videos. So go subscribe. There's a little bell. Click on the bell, and just when it asks you for notifications, just say all notifications. And make sure also that you follow me on my Facebook pages. It is Behind the Seams and my Schurfer Design South Africa Facebook pages, because I've been sharing a lot of what I'm making there as well. I just recently did my bra pattern, or a bra that I've sewn, and I also did a pants with no side seams as well. So go look at all the other goodies that I'm busy sewing for my wardrobe. But again, until I see you guys next time for all these Tuesday tips, you must have a lovely week. And if you're going to be sewing, I hope you enjoy your sewing. Get creative, look at your patterns, change your patterns, and just create something totally new for yourself.